Sony PlayStation has recently said that they've learned their lesson with Concord and are hoping to not make the same mistakes again when it comes to Bungie's Marathon. Well, the good news is that Marathon has been delayed indefinitely, which means that Sony is making a whole new round of mistakes when it comes to their next live service game. And I say mistakes because no matter how much time you spend developing Marathon, it is not going to be the game that most people want it to be. And it's definitely not going to be the game that Sony wants it to be. We're in a state right now where Destiny 2 is not bringing in a lot of new fans, and it is hoping to just attract old fans that have bounced off the game, such as myself. While Sony and Bungie are trying to position Marathon as the next big game from the Halo creators that attracts new fans from all around, while also hopefully being a successful multi-platform game after the success of Helldivers 2. But instead, we're left with a scenario where the extraction shooter is a relatively niche genre within the larger shooter landscape, where the competition with established games like Hunt Showdown and Escape from Tarkov are incredibly fierce, and with upcoming games like Arc Raiders being free to play and in a perfect position to go ahead and eat Marathon's lunch before it even gets to the cafeteria. And I can't help but feel like Marathon is doomed to fail no matter how much time they put into the game. But I'm also convinced that Sony and Bungie have probably spent too much money on the game to make it free to play out of the gate. Maybe they can make it free to play for people on PlayStation Plus during the first month, but that just seems like putting a band-aid on a limb that eventually is going to get amputated. Because at the end of the day, I feel like Marathon is going to struggle to find a player base that's going to make the game seem successful in the eyes of Bungie and their corporate overlords at Sony. And when I think about games that started off as disappointments, I think about games like No Man's Sky, Final Fantasy XIV, and Cyberpunk 2077. And I think to myself, hey, maybe Bungie is in it for the long run and is committed to making Marathon the best game that it can possibly be, that attracts players far and wide and ends up being a successful game that can stand along great titles of the past like Destiny.